dawn. Sit tight, let's explore. Get ready to take flight. Get with this cosmic trip. Mother Earth is a mothership. Better know when it's time to dip. She's heading out tonight. Gotta give, gotta live, gotta care, gotta teach, gotta reach, gotta learn, gotta love. No more time to be blind to the signs. Use your mind to remind you. It's time to go. From the streets to the stars to the sun and the moon. When it's time, gotta be in tune. 'Cause the ship is taking off soon.
Don't miss the flight, just get on board. Space highway fly when we see you. Don't miss the flight. Don't miss the flight.
'Cause the ship is taking off soon. Wake up, human race. Ain't got no time to waste. Turn on your inner space. We're headed towards the light. Get serious like the star. Where you going? Don't need no car. It's not far. It's in your heart. You can make it if you try. Gotta love, gotta live, gotta give and receive. Gotta flow with the G, gotta breathe. Be aware of the signs of the times. Use your mind to align you.
Act like you know.
From the streets to the stars to the sun and the moon. This time gotta be in tune. 'Cause the ship is taking off soon.
Don't miss the flight, just get on board. Space highway fly when we see you. Don't miss the flight. Keep your head to the sky. Don't miss the flight. One day to the earth.
'Cause the ship is taking off soon.
These are the days we gon' sing about. Space highway fly when we see you. Mountain tops roar from the lion smoke. Sit high we rise when we chant it. The negative eye can't wear the crown. Look up, can you see her? The mothership comes from all around. Don't miss the flight. Don't miss the flight, just get on board. Space high we fly when we see you. Don't miss the flight. Don't miss the flight. Don't miss the flight.
From the streets to the stars to the sun and the moon. When it's time, gotta be in tune. 'Cause the ship is taking off now.
From the east, house of light, may wisdom dawn in us, so we may see all things in clarity. From the north, house of night, may wisdom ripen in us, so we may see all from within. From the west, house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action, so we may do what must be done. From the south, house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest, so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above, house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below, house of earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. From the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. Ayum hunabku, eva maya e maho. Ayum hunabku, evam maya e maho. Ayum hunabku, evam maya E Ma Ho.
Peace and blessings, and welcome to this very special edition of The Movement. We are celebrating and commemorating Earth Day 53 on the most auspicious date of Kin 79. That is the Noosphere Constant Day, and we want to welcome everybody out there tuning in to this special broadcast as we continue to make conscious, make sacred, and make art. I want to welcome my colleague, my longtime colleague in Analog Kin, Brother Ruben Llinas. Peace to you, Brother Ruben. How's it going?
Peace, Brother Mikuak. Thank you so much again for opening a space in the cybersphere to bring into consciousness, bring into light the energies that we are navigating, the importance of the times we are living, and how to find in this space a way to make secret, make art, and make whole. I think those are the mottos of this space, and I think that we are opening a great conversation today. Is an eclipse day, so this is a perfect match for Earth Day to start this conversation on an eclipse and having the Earth Day on Kin 79, the Noospheric Constant, kind of bringing us into the theme for today, which is the Noosphere.
Absolutely. And so many wonderful things to talk about. Obviously, some of these things should also bring a little bit of concern, just given the nature of things right now in a planet that is clearly going through a major phase shift. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to certainly take the opportunity today to provide a bit of a retrospect, because it was last year, as with FNC and our partners with Planet Restoration, that we've avidly been observing the Earth Day. We know last year, Earth Day 52 was of great significance given the frequency of the number 52 and how that really shows up in the time science with such prevalence. And then the year before that was of significance as well, being that that was the year that Planet Restoration partnered with earthday.org for their 51st observance of Earth Day. They also had the Pope appear in that broadcast with a special message on Earth Day. And as we reflect back over the past couple of years, we look back so that we may go forward. Now, in looking back over the past couple of years, there have been some very significant events occur that we wanted to certainly make conscious. We wanted to make sure we presence those with the listening audience and anybody tuning into this broadcast now or into the future, just to observe what I'd like to really look at as the divine weaving happening among and between all of these intermingling timelines. There's so much activity happening on the physical earth that we tend to see with our physical senses, and we process with our minds, usually oriented to the material world. And yet, one thing that I think is becoming very clear as we've been observing these amazing alignments over the past several years is there is a higher authority. There does clearly feel and appear to be some higher consciousness involved in the telling and the weaving of this current narrative that we're all figuring out exactly how to navigate. So I wanted to invite you to reflect a little bit, even just looking at the past year, if you'd like, or go as far back as the past couple of years, if you prefer, just to kind of look at that retrospect on where we've been and where that brings us, where we find ourselves now according to that.
Yes, well, every time that we reach like certain markers on the timeline, we experience a very noticeable shift in the energy, and that shift usually gets confirmed the next year and then the next year, and we start to create something called resonance, which is which is basically what we are doing here, is holding the resonant field of the Earth by making these milestones conscious and showing in real time how they are, like you mentioned before, weaving a tapestry of events that are all connected, all interconnected. And of course, Earth Day is one of these big nodes within the timeline that we kind of live every day. We are either choosing the Gregorian timeline or the 13-month timeline, organic time or natural time and artificial time. Within the artificial time, every year, April 22nd is Earth Day, but that day is also connected to other events like the collapse of the oil platform in the Gulf of Mexico. It happened on Earth Day, April 22nd, 2010. And this time of the year, especially around this time of April, like there is a lot of expressions of holding space for the religious observations of the different important religions of Earth. So we are closing today, with this eclipse is closing Ramadan, and we are also closing Passover. We just closed Easter. So this is a very holy, special time. And when an eclipse appears in that frame of reference, and so close to Earth Day, then on a crystal Earth Day, which is the day that we are recording, then it's an invitation for us to really look back and see how we are here. And 50 years is half a century. So since we reached that 50-year milestone, we enter into an acceleration of events on Earth. Since then, you mentioned that the Pope was part of the 50 Earth Day celebration, and this celebration also is important to acknowledge that is part of the reason that we are doing this work is because one of the minds behind this concept of Earth Day was Jose Arguelles, and in his book Earth Ascending, 1984, he really laid out the foundations of the conversation that we are having today on the Noosphere. And later in 1987, which is 36 years from now, from the launch until now, he really was able to present that we are confronted now with two paths: the path of technology and the path beyond technology. And this is the theme for today, because usually we go in our day-to-day life without noticing this shift, because now in the last 2 years they have happened so fast that there is a new normal, like a new template that is being presented to us, and we have the choice now to really to be part of that new agenda, which is the people who are in positions of power are running an agenda, and we need to be aware of that agenda, but know that we have the power to change the agenda. And making these observations, making this conscious on Earth Day, making this conscious on a day that is not any particular occasion, is the 53rd version of Earth Day. The idea of having a conversation on Earth Day 50, then Earth Day 51, Earth Day 52, and now Earth Day 53 is to see how what we discussed back 2 years ago is connected to what just happened within the Catholic Church, the process that is an ongoing. This our last conversation was on this subject with with Mama Audrey and Dr. Barbara.
Yes.
And here we are again on Earth Day, making conscious the fact that we are not limited by the agendas that we are being presented, but we have the choice or the chance to really shift the narrative and give it a twist to the. This is all about like using martial arts to use the energy of the opponent to really shift the things around. Flipping the switch, what we have been making conscious, how we can use these situations like the current emergence of artificial intelligence and how it became normalized in a matter of 1 year. It's just it's in everyone's conversations, is becoming really mainstream. A lot of people that I know have already played with it. And we are part of this reality that these are the new technologies that are being used now. How we make that bridging with the technology and keep that path beyond technology that Jose Arguelles presented back in 1987 as the option to move out of a matrix that is artificial, and that is a reality matrix that is based on artificial constructs, artificial laws, and that those laws are not a match, a frequency match for the energies that are coming now to Earth.
That's profound consideration. And just to reflect a little bit, as you mentioned, we've been tracking this in alignment with Earth Day, the observance of Earth Day, for the past couple of years, since the red crystal moon Earth Day of 2 years ago. And then we would see last year's Earth Day of the cosmic wizard. And then, of course, this year's Earth Day aligning with Kin 79. Very significant. I'd love to speak a little bit about the significance, for example, of the 52nd observance, which was a year ago, and this being the 53rd. Can you talk a little bit about that? And then the significance, moreover, of the 53rd specifically aligning to Kin 79, the blue magnetic storm frequency, which is understood to be the Noosphere Constant. Maybe help also give people some understanding of what that factor, the Noosphere Constant, actually means and what it's a differential of for those really who maybe only hear this term for the first time at this moment.
Yeah, well, basically, the most important aspect about the 52-year cycles is that it was observed and revered as sacred by the ancient Maya. We, in the Western conception of the world, 52 is just one more number, but because we have been tracking this progressive completion of cycles and these different milestones that we have been reaching since 2012, since 2013, galactic synchronization. When opportunities like the 52nd or the completion of 52 solar orbits that represents 73 sacred calendars of 260 days, that is an invitation to look back, to move forward. What have we done during this cycle of 52 years of planetary consciousness? Because Earth Day, we picked that day to start a new series of articles because it's a concept that is familiar to people. It's in 1970, there was very little consciousness about we are part of one big organism called Earth. So there was also an initial concern about the pollution and the contamination of modern industry to the environment. So the environmental movement and this planetary consciousness really started 53 years ago in 1970. And that's a really good reference point for us to have the conversation and look back as a civilization and what has happened since we started to, as a species, started to develop this planetary consciousness. Because this is mapped in Earth Ascending. This is part of this one stage of our evolution, and the cycles of the Noosphere, which is this planetary sphere of mind, this field of memory, this memory field where we all share all our beliefs or our stories or our human dramas are stored in this envelope called the Noosphere. So this is a big marker for humanity, because since we started that series in 1 year, we started the second 52-year cycle of Noospheric consciousness, of planetary consciousness. And that first unit is right now the subject of the conversation, because how do we want to start another 52-year cycles? Do we want to carry the errors of the past, or can we make more intelligent decisions to deal with these errors and move forward? So the fact that we are closing 52 years of Earth Day on a cosmic day, because 1 year ago the cosmic wizard was the white cosmic wizard was the day that was the initial Earth Day, and the 52-year version is again white cosmic wizard, which is timelessness. It's the power of timelessness, and its tone 13 is the cosmic power of transcending.
Yes.
So we are transcending since the last year, since that transmission. We are transcending to a new paradigm, to a new Earth, and building these spaces and these conversations hold space for that transformation to take place. We are frequency holders of this shift in consciousness that started in 1970, and that despite all these different agendas that are running parallel, there is a larger plan of evolution here, and it's called the Noosphere. So that's why we decided to make this parallel, that we are shifting or moving from artificial intelligence to a Noospheric intelligence,
That's right.
to a new way of relating to the planet, to the consciousness of the planet, that is encoded in our own DNA and is encoded in the ethers, and that we can make it conscious. Books like Earth Ascending, visionary works like Jose Arguelles' work on Earth Ascending and the Mayan Factory, he mapped the stages of the evolution of this field of consciousness. So as we reach these fractal markers, units of that hologram are being completed. There are 52 galactic activation portals in one Solkin. There are 52 weeks of 7 days in one solar orbit. So every time that we reach those containers of 52, we have the opportunity to renew the script.
Yes.
So what we are doing right now is imbuing this energy of the Noosphere into all the scripts and narratives that are right now out there, and are creating so much confusion for
Yes.
people.
Yes.
So this is a lot of public figures, especially in the field of technology, are now coming out and giving interviews because they are also feeling that the development of our technology has been irresponsible.
Hmm.
So it's a couple of weeks ago there was a call from these big minds of the technological world calling for a pause
Hmm.
in the development of artificial intelligence, because basically it seems like they don't know what they are playing with,
Mm.
and we have other ways of using technology that are constructive and not create more problems instead of solving the problems. Because right now, the idea is that in this 52-year cycle, we are bringing this consciousness of the noosphere, and it is supported by the codes. We didn't knew 52 in the Earth Day 52 1 year ago that the next one was going to match with the Noospheric Constant, which is this number 79,
Right.
that happens to be named the Noospheric Constant because it's the difference between the two important codes or numerical frequencies that govern the entire fabric of time.
Hmm.
One is the 441 matrix called the synchronotron. Is the is a let's say that in a way to explain for people who have never heard about this, is like a software that is being downloaded on our brains that contains all the new programs.
Hmm.
Our DNA is being reprogrammed right now with way more efficient and energy sustaining programs.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for this biocomputer to be able to receive these programs, we need to change the operational system. And that's where the conversation that we have been having since 2017,
2016, actually.
2016.
Yeah.
Yeah, to change the operational system of civilization. That's what we are envisioning, and we keep envisioning for 2028, because it's at the root of the mental health crisis that we are having at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Driven by this fast-paced world, fast technology, we don't think much about things. We just jump into them without questioning them. And right now, because of the opportunity that an eclipse brings to bring to consciousness of, or to kind of enter a window of reflection until the next lunar eclipse. We are entering in 2 weeks of down the rabbit hole or up the rabbit hole, and we decide where
And I think
where do we want to go.
that's a really good point, that we decide. I want to emphasize that because it's interesting as well. You mentioned some of the technological leaders of the world who have been wrestling with this question of AI or not. I mean, chief among them, Elon Musk, has been very outspoken about his critique and concern of unchecked AI, even to the degree where he's been calling publicly for regulations on AI. Now, that may be different than Larry Page of Google, for example. And we notice some of these characters are at the leading edge of the seeing who's jockeying for position of controlling the direction AI might take. Along with them is Bill Gates and the whole Microsoft corporation, who now functionally own and operate so-called open AI. And according to Elon Musk, it was called open because it was open source to begin with. No longer is it necessarily that. It's now a subject of the Microsoft corporation. We can probably speculate at what advantage that may play for Bill Gates' agenda for the future. We know there's a lot of interesting commentary about that. But I think it's important to note also that Elon Musk described AI, in particular unchecked or unregulated AI, the singularity is the other terminology utilized, as a black hole. And as you pointed out, here we are in this window between eclipses, where over the next couple of weeks, we're going to witness, to a degree, which direction this may be taken. Now, it's not to say that we're going to have to go a direction that is not something we're choosing, except in the fact that most people don't know they do have a choice. They're not necessarily aware that part of this can be adjusted or even resisted on the basis of our own volition, on the basis of our own choice. And I think that also goes back to the essence of what you were saying too. If we observe that 36 years ago, Jose Arguelles published his seminal work, The Mayan Factor. And the subtitle of that is called The Path Beyond Technology. So astutely as you also observed, we are coining a new term to run counter to the AI path of singularity, to suggest the choice we do have is to move into NI, natural intelligence, noospheric intelligence. And we have to assert that choice because it's a matter of consciousness. That's where we make conscious, we make sacred, we make art. And you were going to also share with us the other frequency, not to overlook the fact that 441 currently, as that frequency that is processing and helping and supporting a reordering of our entire species, actually, I would say towards a positive arc, is happening in a concurrent way with the 441st year of the Gregorian calendar program being incepted. So we're in this really phenomenal window. We've been very deliberate to mark since February 24th of this year, leading us through October 15th of this year.
Which is the next eclipse, the solar eclipse.
The next eclipse. So there's a really interesting way that nature's intelligence is passing along this frequency shift. It's like shuttling it. It's relaying the information with these nodes, these intersecting nodes of such significance, not to be overlooked or underestimated, that there is no intelligence, quite frankly, arguably greater than the intelligence of the divine embodied in human form, which each of us are participants with. Now, to the degree that we don't resign our role and our responsibility over to a machine world because we're either too lazy or we've been just too predictively conditioned to just, take it because we're in despair or fear or whatever other lower frequency we might be managing at the time. This is certainly a time to stay in the heart of hearts. This is the window. So share with folks as well, what is the other differential frequency with the 441 that creates this Noosphere Constant?
Yes, the other one is the number 520, and the difference between 520 and 441 is 79. What is 520? Basically, the Noosphere. The Noosphere, it looks etherically as 4 sulking plates on top of 4 inverted sulking plates. They are mirrors of each other, okay? And each of these plates is one of the main quarters of the Earth, of the circumference of the Earth. So 520 units is the amount of noospheric units in one plate. And if we subtract this number of units, 441, we reached 79. And because those 2 programs, the noospheric brain works through those programs who coordinate basically our genetic and biological cycles. Is that we are speaking here about like the organic software that is in place and that we are just making it conscious.
Right.
The idea, like our biocomputers are equipped to run the most advanced software, but the Gregorian calendar really becomes like a virus.
Mm.
And in the books, especially on Earth Ascending, Jose coins the word cosmic amnesia. That we basically lost our ability to connect with cosmic order through the use of an irregular disharmonic instrument as the Gregorian calendar.
Mm-hmm.
So what better match right now that we are about to enter King 79, which is the Noospheric Constant. We are running the 441 years of the Gregorian calendars, is running out of time.
Yep.
And the eclipse is giving us the cue for the next, for that culmination of those 441 years, is lights out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The next eclipse, the prior solar eclipse that took place on October 2022 was on King 164 Sun, which happens to be the golden section of the Solkin matrix. So once we track the eclipses and where they are, what the frequencies of these eclipses correspond in the Solkin of the sacred count of 260 days, we start to see the hidden harmonies.
Yes.
This window of 15 days, this black hole in consciousness that we enter in terms that these are major disruption of life on Earth. The eclipses are how basically there is a way for nature to press the reset button.
Exactly.
It's like little resets that for reboot the system. So we are right now in that rebooting of 2 weeks to really allow everything that needs to be clean and dissolve, let go.
Yes.
The next eclipse is the lunar eclipse from May 5th that happens to coincide with the moon of liberation and the magnetic human, which is the energy of free will.
Yes.
So this is a really a 2-week period to hold space for the liberation of human consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Into the full potential that we are destined to reach.
Yes.
Right now, all these tools and programs, which are really belief systems that are completely out of pace with the current worldview.
Yes.
Like using the Gregorian calendar is completely obsolete. We should even have this conversation at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But in order for humanity and the Earth as an organism to evolve to the next stage, which is the noospheric stage, like Jose in Earth Ascending calls, like the industrial age is the end of the planetization of the hominization of the planet.
Mm.
And now we are entering the planetization of the human being.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are coming to the absolute knowing that we are part of a larger organism called a planet that is the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So we are flipping from the hominization of the planet to the planetization of the human.
Mm-hmm. Homo noosphericus.
Homo noospherikus.
Yes. So
And
it's auspicious. I just wanted to say it's auspicious then when we talk about the shift from artificial intelligence to noospheric intelligence. It's a real thing. And this is actually something that we are participant to. We are here as somebody embodied on the planet. You're here bearing witness to this, whether you're conscious of what you're bearing witness to or not. It depends upon, I suppose, what side of the equation you rest upon, or where you choose to be, that it's very, very significant. And I'd also like to point out another beautiful significance. There is one fractal measure where each moon is equivalent to one kin. And as we are about to observe on the observation of Earth Day 53, we know that's kin 79. And in the first moon of the new forthcoming year, okay, year 36, the first moon of year 36 is also the embodiment of kin 79 in the one moon equals one kin frequency. So that's like the exclamation point on what is being established and anchored as Earth intelligence, natural intelligence, Noospheric intelligence on Earth Day this year. You can't mess that up. And it's the Syrian rebirth frequency of 53.
Yes.
So none of this can be overlooked. We have to really recognize, it's like they say in the Black church, watch God work. You know, like watch what God does. Watch God work, that galactic ordering dynamic, God, watch God work. And these particular frequency markers are for us to observe, as we have been tracking and observing in this effort to come online and make folks aware that there is a higher order, a higher harmony at work here on behalf of the species, on behalf of the human species, evolving to its next stage in relationship with a planet that is going through a major reboot. It's awakening, it's ascending, it's doing all the things that we intuitively know, even if we're dismayed and confused by the world of appearances here in the mundane. That's the world that the artificial intelligence is trying to continue to keep as many people entrained in that lower vibration as possible. At the end of the day, it's a choice.
Yeah, and we were in the conversations that Elon Musk was having with, and that people are having nowadays. It's getting really, really, really difficult for our senses to know if anything is generated by a machine or by a human. And, like in the supermarket, we see the organic seal of organic food that are not is cultivated responsibly and is supposed not to have any hormones or contaminants or chemicals. In the same way, we are kind of coining the new term like Noospheric Intelligence. That is, it's like this is higher intelligence at work. It cannot be generated by an AI, no matter how powerful or how advanced it is.
Nope.
And we have come to that point that people, visionaries like Jose, saw coming. And here we are doing our very best to navigate that point in consciousness where it's either an ascending spiral or a descending one. And we can harness the energy of the entropic spiral to really uplift ourselves into the next stage. It's just that it has to come through human biological consciousness. This is not like ChatGPT or any artificial intelligence is not going to give us the answer, because we know already that the answer is surrendering to a higher order. And the earth is part of that higher order, and the sun is part of that higher order, and the star Sirius is part of that higher order. So we just need to entrain with those frequencies that are basically pacing our biology and our every heart pulsation.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us in this special dropping in together, because it's such a momentous and monumental occasion. And it just seems like things are becoming more and more coherent. In other words, more revealed, perhaps, and more clarified. And I did want to encourage people tuning in, and you can find the link for this in the description, to the Medium articles that have been penned over the past year. as an effort to retrospect, look back so we can move forward. And I just want to share the very beginning of the first article published, Gregorian, April 21st, 2022, as we entered the commemoration of Earth Day 52. At the very beginning of that Medium article, it says, "The point is this. When we understand the scale of the mega crisis, we realize there is nothing that can be done about what is going on within the old system of behavior and belief. You cannot stop an evolutionary shift that is encoded. Much like the stages of fetal development are encoded into the embryo's genetic material, into the whole system process of a living planet like the Earth. The only meaningful response to such a transition as is now occurring is to shift our consciousness to meet it. And this is precisely the prescription that augments and affirms the coming of the noosphere." It's a Jose Arguelles quote. And I want to say, is that from Earth Ascending specifically? Where's
from Manifesto for the
It's from the Manifesto for the Noosphere, the bookend to Earth Ascending,
Yes.
published in the year 2010 through Evolver Publishing, the imprint, actually 2011, sometime around then, posthumously after the transition of Jose Arguelles from the body. But just to mention, that was a major bookend to the 1984 published Earth Ascending.
Yes.
We'll put links to all of these things for people to follow up, because these are living materials. Don't be fooled by the fact that it appears to have a published date in the past. These are concurrent materials to the phase shift that we are navigating in our lifetime.
Yes.
So this is very much living. This is a fountain of living wisdom that is here in service to the whole humanity, making this transition in consciousness together at varying levels of consciousness, mind you. But the objective is that we are collectively waking up in concert with a planet that is awakening and ascending.
Yeah.
And the best thing we can do is position ourselves in service, in love and gratitude, and really appreciating the depth of what this incarnation really holds for us. Should we tap into that reservoir of being, that true noospheric intelligence that we come encoded with, that's our call. That's the call on our lives at this point in time as a collective, becoming this noosphericus, homo noosphericus. So I'd love to invite any closing statements you want to share with folks as well.
Yeah, well, that since we started this series on Earth Day a year ago, we are planning to close the series also on Earth Day with a recap article that is basically trying to weave the story between those two bookends and connect the dots on where we are right now in the map that was laid out here in this book, Earth Ascending, that was later clarified and enhanced in this book, and that the last one that you mentioned is the Noosphere. So we have been really studying these three books, especially the introduction and the preface and the afterword, to examine those bookends and find in that synthesis some clues to navigate what we are witnessing at the moment. And so it's an opportunity to really make conscious the unconscious. And I invite everyone who is watching now or in the future to really go to the harmonic factor at Medium. And there's a list, a reading list just on shifting timelines, in which we are basically, without intending, in the last 13 months, writing 13 chapters of this first year of the second 52-year cycle of planetary consciousness, and all the amazing revelations and the amazing synchronicities that have been happening during this 1 year, and that we sometimes lose sight of them or we forget. And now there's an opportunity to go back to move forward, look back to move forward. That's what nature does. The Fibonacci spiral is the plant going back to her memory and see what is my next stage. What is the last thing that I did, and how can I use that energy to create the new stage?
Mm-hmm.
So here we are just mimicking nature and making conscious these steps in that spiral to know that we are at the sprouting stage of a new consciousness that is here to stay, and that we all are embodiments and carriers of that new frequency, and that the more we tap into the codes and the cycles, the more we realize that we are intricately embedded in this web of life. This is a living matrix, and we are not, we are part of it. We are observing it because that's what noospheric emergence and noospheric intelligence is. We are self-reflective cells of this planetary field of mind that we can articulate in concepts and ideas and abstract everything that is going on at such a fast pace, and use the tools that we have, the fourth dimensional tools, to integrate all these shifts in our daily lives. And in the coming weeks and years, how are we going to navigate this transition? These are going to be key days and years to come to really find our truest, highest purpose on this earth. So I invite all the people from all the generations that are watching that your consciousness is an unlimited source of energy and intelligence. That if we make good use of that energy, we can shift reality in the quantum, which is our imagination. Our imagination is more powerful than our knowledge.
So powerful, brother, so profound. I want to thank you personally for your tireless dedication, your livocation to this mission. You know, it's a true honor. As my analog kin, we were prescribed and encoded to do this work together, which is very obvious to me. And just acknowledge and wish everybody out there tuning in a most blessed Earth Day 53 as the Syrian rebirth frequency for Earth Day, the completion of our first year in the new 52-year cycle, coded by this frequency of Noospheric Constant. We're so grateful for that, just to make that conscious, to make it sacred, and to celebrate time is art as our evolutionary mandate in truth, and inviting everybody to really recognize that they do have a choice, and they're soon coming to the point where that choice will be required of them deliberately. It won't necessarily come about as a passive acquiescence, because if you passively acquiesce, then there is, there is a space for those who passively acquiesce to the singularity agenda. Let's call it what it is. And I, for one, am not inclined to consenting to that, when I know there's a higher order, a higher harmony, there's a galactic ordering dynamic at work. Watch God work straight up. And everything is bending towards the arc of justice. That's how the universe bends, toward the arc of justice. And in the year of the 441 years of this Gregorian program, we know that dismantling the program is a part of the function of achieving justice. That's why we're so dutiful to make this conscious and continue to beat that drum and bring that consciousness full forward. So I just want to thank you, and again, everybody out there who is on the front line in this phase shift, all of our kin who are celebrating in different crystal clusters around the world, holding this energy, embodying the noospheric frequency. A huge gratitude to every single one of you, for we are here in unity. We are here not in singularity, but we are truly here in unity, because that is the nature of nature. Nature is synchronicity. Nature is unity. In fact, it's the totality of unity and the unity of totality. So just honoring these realities, this evolving participatory invitation to make conscious. We hold this space with a heart wide enough and wide as the sky, just to continue to show up and do what must be done. So thank you to everybody out there tuning in. We invite you to visit the ongoing places of more information and getting aligned with the work that's going on. We invite you to visit, as Ruben mentioned, the articles at medium.com/@ the harmonic factor. We also encourage you to visit the lawoftime.org, which is the anchor for this seeded information. We give acknowledgement to our relatives in the Southern Hemisphere who have been, for the past 6 or 7 years, in fact, holding the container for the Noosphere Constant frequency. And we offer this offering today in alignment with that, in the hopes that we can all unite in the higher harmony in a good way on behalf of Pachamama and the evolving species of humanity. So with that said, we say in Lakesh, we say aho, huge aloha to all of our relations. And so it is.
So it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Ashe.
This is the Rainbow Bridge Universal Peace Meditation. Before the meditation, it is good to take a few moments to clear your mind, dissolving all thoughts as they arise. Also focus on feeling love arise in your heart. When you feel your mind clear, then begin the visualization. Visualize yourself inside the Earth's octahedron crystal core. Feel your heart at the center of this crystal core, generating an intensely blazing point of white light. This light from your heart core creates an etheric column that extends to the north and south poles, from the blazing center to the tips of the octahedron. Now visualize a great stream of multicolored plasma-filled light emanating from your heart core and flowing along the central axis toward both of Earth's poles, shooting out from them to become two rainbow bands 180 degrees apart. As Earth revolves on its axis, this rainbow bridge remains steady and constant, unmoving. Feel the two streams of rainbow light rushing through your central column, shooting out from above your head and beneath your feet to create a rainbow bridge around your body. Now you and the rainbow bridge are one. The rainbow bridge of world peace is real, visualized by enough people in a telepathic wave of love. The rainbow bridge will become a reality.
Come, daughter, come. Pray, daughter, pray. Remember who you are and whose you are. Come, daughter, come. Born from the stars, heavenly body, holy, holy, ancient one, from the one. Remember who you are and whose you are. Return to the earth what belongs to her. Cry no more. Surrender all. Suffer no more. Suffer no more. Lay down your burdens by the riverside. Let your soul be renewed and be baptized. Injikulela iko sasa, ingiko lako lengi langa, utondo luyabuza. Iko sasa, ingiko lako lengi langa, utondo luyabuza. Lay down your burden by the riverside. Let your soul be renewed. Be baptized. And wash it all away. Wash it all away. Yeah, yeah, say wash it away. Won't you give God praise? Won't you give God praise? Mommy water, wash it all the water, wash it all away. Wash it all away. Yahweh, Allah, Jehovah, to control. Dance, all the dance. Pray, daughter, pray. Heal, daughter, heal. Feel, daughter, feel. You forgive you. You forgive you. You can heal now. You can heal now. You are safe now. You are free now. Dance, daughter, dance. Dance, daughter, dance. What?
Come on. As we walk through the land, there's so much to see. Everything's growing like you and me. Flowers blooming, trees waving in the breeze. Birds way up in the sky, flying high and free. Ooh, yeah. From the mountain top, rivers flow to the plains. This is the way that life sustains. When the rain comes, nature starts to sing. Celebrating Earth is a beautiful thing. Celebrate Earth Day every day. Come on, every day. Everybody sing this song. Celebrate Earth Day every day. Every day. Everybody sing along. From the city to the farm, there's one earth we share. Come together, people from everywhere. Pachamama, Mother Gaia, she has so many names. It's from a fertile soil that everybody came. We love recycling, planting trees and going green. Driving less and biking more helps keep the air clean. Living in tune, what a joy it brings. Celebrating Earth is a beautiful thing. Celebrate Earth Day every day. Every day. Put your hands together, children. Celebrate Earth Day every day. Every day. To celebrate this love we build. Celebrate Earth Day every day. Every day. All around the world. Celebrate Earth Day every day. Every day. Every boy and girl. Come on. Yeah. Celebrate Earth Day every day. Every day. Everybody sing this song. Celebrate Earth Day every day. Every day. find your part within life's song. Yeah, yeah.